This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And don't forget that free dining is back. In fact, you can still book through July 26, 2009 and receive free dining on select nights from August 16, 2009 through October 3rd, 2009. And the travel agents at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can help you plan that trip. Take advantage of that free dining offer. Make sure you're at the right restaurants, getting all those ADRs, and getting all that free dining goodness that comes with that. Why not visit them online? Go to www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, July 15th, 2009, and this is episode 591 of WDW Today. I am Matt Hodgeberg of StudiosCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hi, Mike.
Hey, what's happening, guys?
Glad to have you on, Mike. And also joining us on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Digital Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome back, Len.
Thanks, Matt, and thanks to all of our listeners who sent me notes during my week off. Thanks very much. I appreciated that a lot.
Cool. And also joining us on today's show is the fabulous Annette Owens of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Welcome, Annette.
Hey, how's that sunshine now that it's come back there, Mike? Matt?
Fred, Joe, Bill, Bob.
It's very nice here in Florida.
What, it wasn't nice on Long Island over the weekend?
Yeah, what?
I went to Long Island last weekend, and the highs were in the 70s. At night, it was like jacket weather.
It is gorgeous.
I got off the plane. I was like, it's still July, right?
It's wonderful.
We didn't skip a few months also?
Oh, you Floridians and your humidity and your
You
heat.
crazy kids.
Yes. Excuse me. Sorry. I thought summertime was, shorts weather.
It is. 70s is shorts weather.
Okay, guys. When it gets above 50 in New England, then people roll down the windows and...
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Jumping in the pools, right?
That's right. Well, it's Wednesday, and we're answering your listener questions. And Annette, I think there would be no better question than a question about Magical Express to start off today's show.
Well, lovely.
Where was it the other day?
So our first question of the day comes from Wendy from Sacramento, California. All right, hi, I'm Matt, Mike, Len, and Annette. Family and I are going to Walt Disney World in August. I haven't been there since 1987, so I'm very excited to see what's new and exciting at the world. It will also be the first visit for my husband and daughter. My question is about Magical Express. Can we pick up our luggage ourselves and bring it on the bus with us so they don't have to wait hours to get our luggage? We're flying in from California, so we will not arrive till the evening.
I definitely recommend doing that. Just because you say you're arriving in the evening, the last thing you want to do is after a long flight is have to wait on your luggage. So you can go and grab your bags and bring it down with you to check in at the Magical Express desk. But just make sure to grab them first, then go check in. Then you'll load it right underneath the bus with you.
Cool. Wendy adds, thanks for the great podcast. Thanks for the great book, Unofficial Guide. I appreciate all the helpful advice.
Thank you.
Next email is from Ken Fischler of Richlands, North Carolina, also known as NCWDW Daddy in the chat room.
Hoorah.
Writes, Matt and crew, thank you for taking my call on the May and June live shows. We were in the world June 9th to the 19th, and the May show answered my questions. Then I was able to call in with some feedback in the June show. So here are a few random notes. On vacation homes, great deal. This is the second year I've booked through OrlandoVacation.com, and I've been happy with both times. For less than $130 a night for the dates I have above, we got a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house with a private pool. It doesn't have a game room or all the amenities that an All-Star Vacation home has, but it was just what we needed. Maybe I'll look at All-Star the next time if they offer any kind of military discount. Number 2, electric umbrella. It really does belong in Animal Kingdom. With all the crowds, noise, pushing, eating, feeding time. The restrooms by Pinocchio Village House, you can probably hold it until you get somewhere else.
Put a knot in it, soldier.
Fantastic. I went to the studios 3 times during our vacation. On each trip, I stopped by guest relations, requested a daily Fantasmic schedule, and told them Matt Hodgeberg sent me. The first time, 3 cast members in blue slacks and checkered vests told me that they also wish it was nightly, but to remember it was an expensive show. Funny how ticket prices increase, kept it going for 10 years, but suddenly it costs too much. Probably spent the cash on that fabulous Stitch Supersonic turkey of a show. Anyway, when I mentioned your name, the cast member said, sorry, but we don't know who that is. I said, you're kidding. Matt Hodgeberg of WDW Today Podcast and StudioCentral.com? Nope, didn't ring a bell. I was going to ask them if they heard of Lou, but figured why start a fight?
Yeah, right.
Instead, I just told them that they must be new. On the other visits, I spoke with an older gentleman at guest relations window outside the gate. After I made my phantasmic request and mentioned your name, he smiled and nodded. I figured he either knew you or Matt Hodgeberg sent me was code to enter the speakeasy.
It's like, yeah, it's what they do at the Great Movie Ride, right? That's what James Cagney says.
That's right.
Hodgeberg. So you just have to go through a few times to hear it in the whole loop, right?
Very nice. Thanks for that report, Ken. It was great. We always like hearing what worked and what didn't work on trips. Next email is from John, Christine, Catherine, Daniel, and Grace. Writes, Dear WDW Today, I would like to know if you could recommend a good resort for a 5 at a value level. On our last visit in October 2005, we stayed at Port Orleans Riverside, and it was great, but we would like a little more room. We will be purchasing park hopping tickets with a water park option. We will also be getting the dining package. I know Disney has not released any info yet, but we'll take our chances. Thank you for the help, and keep the good podcast going. What do you think of the All-Star Family Suites, Len?
Yeah, that's the thing. For value, the good thing about the suites is that there are 2 bathrooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've got that. You don't really have a kitchen though, right? So you can nuke your Pop-Tarts there, but that's about. It's not like you're going to whip up a Thanksgiving dinner in the kitchen there.
Right.
You could do that, or you could just get two connected rooms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The advantage of 2 connecting rooms is everyone has an actual bed. Whereas in the suite, somebody ends up on the sleeper sofa and that pull-out chair, which is okay for kids, but because their bones are essentially rubber to begin with. But if it's older kids or adults, young adults, I don't know that you want to spend that much time sleeping on those things.
Yeah.
If they're older, you're going to need the other bathroom.
Yeah, you need the other bathroom anyway. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up that fact about the kids' bones. I was reading that line in the Journal of Medicine the other day.
Yeah.
The cabin over at Fort Wilderness, though, has a little bit more space.
Yeah, you might want to look at that. I mean, that's going to sleep at theoretically 6 people. And they are full beds there. I mean, there's some bunk beds thrown in there, but obviously he's got kids, so that may not be an issue. Next email is from Jessica Cara, better known as Lab Dogs 42 on the forums. Hooah! There you go. As an annual pass holder, don't think annual pass holders should get extra Magic Hours access just like other resort guests. It wouldn't cost Disney anything, and it would be an awesome benefit. Any idea why they don't do this? Something to do with Florida residents, maybe? Hopefully Newell will pick my email because of my subject line, which is the subject, by the way, Newell, was why can't I get more free stuff?
Yeah.
Awesome. You guys rock. I'm thinking of trying one of Len's cheap hotels for my next trip. Wish me luck.
You should totally do it.
Okay. Well, I think the primary reason why Disney doesn't offer extra Magic Hours for annual pass holders is because they want to make it sure that it's a resort-only perk. Because, for years, Len, I think you would agree with me that they really struggle to differentiate themselves from why should I stay at Disney World and pay extra money versus staying off-site.
Right.
And the added benefits that they've added, like extra Magic Hours, among other benefits, have really kind of made, I think, a lot of guests say, well, that's almost enough reason for some people. So you definitely agree with that one.
I think so, yeah. I'm trying to think of whether I disagreed with that, and I can't think of anything.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice. Of course, as an annual pass holder who lives down here, it'd be great if I could get in extra Magic Hours. But the truth is, I mean, that's what, that's a perk of staying on site. And I think Disney's smart for doing that. It's a good business decision, I think. Next email is from Michelle Class of Littleton, Colorado. Writes, Dear Matt, Mike, Michael, Len, and Annette, love the show and have been listening since episode 6. I really like having Annette added to the show for a female point of view.
Woohoo. Okay, I owe you money. Thanks.
Yeah.
We tried to bring Newell for the female point of view, but Mike, you just didn't deliver.
Man, I was going to say the same thing about you, and you.
It was a stretch. It was a stretch.
I know. He beat me to it. What can I say?
Michelle writes, I don't have any questions. I just wanted to comment on our recent trip in January. As always, I purchased the latest edition of the Gospel According to Len to put Walt Disney World Vacation. By the way, why don't you give that title to Bob? See what he thinks about that.
Yeah, maybe on the next book that we do, I think I'm totally going to do that.
Before booking, I consulted the crowd calendars on touringplans.com and chose the week after Martin Luther King Day and before the Super Bowl. Congrats to Len Steelers.
Yeah, thanks.
The crowds were a little heavier than I expected, but we followed our touring plans and everything worked beautifully. The only day that threw us was Monday, January 26th. We chose to go to the studios because it was supposed to be the best day for the park according to the crowd calendars. Also, according to that theory, it would be less busy on that day after evening extra Magic Hours the day before. All I can say is thank goodness for the touring plan. We toured about half the park that day because the crowds were so heavy. Even the cast members were commenting that the park was a lot busier than expected and that the extra help had been called in. There were 90-minute waits for Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror had a 40-minute wait for Star Tours and the Great Movie Ride. We went back the next day to finish our touring and found everything except for Toy Story Mania was walk-on. So here's my theory. Because Disney has reduced Fantasmic showings to Monday and Thursday, I think a lot of people were at the studios on Monday so that they could see Fantasmic, and I'm guessing Thursday would also be more crowded. The studios will now have an exception to the rules above due to the reduction of Fantasmic showings. Yeah, well, I mean, we've talked about this on the show before.
Yeah, so we had Fred, I think we had Fred on, our statistician, to talk about it, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so there's so it's interesting because we've had to modify the Best Days calendar to include, having to see Fantasmic.
Yeah, it definitely affects the crowd. So it's, you have definitely to adjust accordingly. And we've talked about that in previous episodes, certainly.
Cool.
Next email is from Robert. And Newell, let's just show you how old these emails are that we're reading here.
You don't have to prove to me. Right. I know how old they are.
He writes, what are the chances of Jim Hill or the urban theming guy being on the show? I started listening a few months ago, went back and started listening at the old episodes with those guys, and they were really fascinating. Well, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. We had Sam Genoway on, a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, Sam was good.
Yeah, so very, very good. And, we're always looking to, it's not that we don't ban anyone from the show or anything. We're just lazy people and can't get around to doing things, but otherwise.
Just can't kick me out, right?
That's right. And that just keeps on showing up, so. Next email is from someone who didn't leave their name. You got to leave your name, people. Name and where you're from. Who writes, hi guys, my family and I have a question for you. When we were in the world in October 2008, my husband and I went to ride Soarin' for the first time. We were going to need the child swap for the ride because our 15-month-old was sleeping in her stroller at the time. We tried to enter the land pavilion when we were told that strollers were not allowed in there. We tried to tell the man at the door that we just needed to get the baby swap tickets. He said that we would have to wake up the baby and bring her in with us. The problem was that our daughter had gotten a stomach bug when we got down to Disney and had not slept well the night before. This was the first good nap she had gotten all day, and we were not about to wake her up. I had enough and went down to Soarin' to see what I could do. I talked to a few people at the ride and was told that we needed to have my daughter with me to get the baby swap ticket. I tried to tell them that she was sleeping outside and they would not let her in with a stroller. So after talking to a few people, they finally called on the radio to the man at the door to make sure my husband was in fact up there with the daughter. Needless to say, this took about 25 minutes to get all this worked out. If we were going to be in the park all day, this would not have been a problem. I wanted to know if strollers were allowed in the land, or was the man at the door just being a pain? I could see that they would not like strollers all over the place by the rides inside, but what if you were going to eat at Sunshine Seasons food fair with a very little one? Well, the guy definitely, I don't think the guy was in error there. I mean, there's a huge stroller parking all around the, when you're walking up that hill to the land, you see on the opposite sides of the path, there's all the strollers parked over
They're everywhere.
Yeah. So it's not a thing. I mean, I can understand it. Personally, I think while the guy at the entrance was right, the guy at the Fast Pass machine or wherever you got, the guy when you asked for the child swap should have just been like, okay, here's your ticket. I mean, really, are you going to be, it's not like many people even know about the baby swap to begin with, let alone are going to be abusing it. And certainly, I think that they could have at least done something for it. I mean, you got in the end, and it's too bad though that it didn't work out for you though, and a much better option.
Too bad they couldn't have taken a picture of the baby in the stroller on the cell phone and gone, look, see right there.
That's right. Well, with Len's new iPhone, he could have just turned the video feature on and streamed it over.
Fancy.
Another reason why I want one. Mm-hmm.
Next email is from Mike Newell's illegitimate son. It's Kevin from Boston.
KevBot.
Right? Hey, Matt, Mike, Len, and Net. I thought it might be neat to find out what podcasts you guys listen to. Basically, I listen to yours, which is about an hour total all week, and Lou Mangella's, which only takes about another 17 hours a week, maybe 18. I love to know what you guys listen to so I can fill up the rest of the week and be Disney-fied on days that aren't Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Newell, I know that you and I are both big fans. They're not Disney-related, but Leo Laporte podcasts.
I'm a big Leo Laporte fan. Have been since, I don't know.
Yeah, you've been a huge fan since back in the day.
When he was on ZDTV. And the Screensavers, I mean, before podcasting even came about. But yeah, I listened to Leo, because I had that 2-hour commute. I must listen to him 6-8 hours a week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a different job now than I had before, and this new job doesn't allow me quite to listen to as many podcasts as I did, but I still keep up. I love Netcot's a great show. Van does a good show over there. Anyone else want to comment?
Well, it's a little bit of a R-rated show. So, the Radio Chick. I listen to the Radio Chick show. The only other Disney podcast that I only have time to listen to. I listen to All About the Mouse and Lou.
Cool.
And then, do you listen to anything?
Well, I listen to Lou some, but I've got to say I'm just when I get out and I start walking or I'm exercising, which is when I'm listening to my iPod, I'm all about music. So that's kind of that's my getaway from talk.
I know that's Len too because I get the emails every day. Oh, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun to be free is on again.
So when everybody else is listening to their talk, I'm listening to Mouse World Radio.
I'll warm up listening to this show, but then when the running starts to get hard, I definitely need something a little more peppy.
Okay.
To run to.
We're not so peppy.
I mean, the good thing about this show is that so many people call me names that's really good motivation when I run, but I need something with a soundtrack. I don't know. Maybe Newell could throw something in there. Oh, okay. So Newell, thinking of you the other night.
Here we go.
No, we were coming home last night from a tournament a softball tournament that Hannah was playing, and XM was doing the Overture to 2112 by Rush.
Oh, nice.
And I made Dawn listen to it.
Nice.
Wow, Dawn is
Rush
is quite up her alley.
Awesome. Anyway,
And the meek shall inherit the earth.
Next email is from Craig Duncan, otherwise known as Disney CJD, from the United Kingdom, who writes, on your last recent Wednesday show, you mentioned flying into Tampa. As the best and biggest United Kingdom fan, I'd say we often take the British Airways flight from London to Tampa. Drive is 1 hour and 15 minutes from Tampa Airport to our house in Claremont, whereas Orlando to our house in Claremont is about 45 minutes. But the Virgin flights into Orlando are always late, where the British Airways is on time, so you actually gain time. Tampa is cheaper, and only one international flight arrives there, so immigration is a breeze. Thanks for the report on...
I think they just wave you in, right? They're just like, come on in. Welcome to the States.
Yeah, but they're Brits anyway. It's like, oh, you silly Brits. Next... Oh, my God.
Last Christmas.
That's great. That's good.
Now, this email's from Becky Christensen of
Oconomowoc,
Wisconsin.
I'm sure that's just how they say it too.
That's how the Indians pronounce it. Oconomowoc.
No, I meant how slow you pronounced it.
Oh, don't you know Oconomowoc?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to Walt Disney World soon. We're staying at All-Star Movies, and we're taking advantage of the Buy 4 Get 3 free package, including dining for the first week. The second week, we're staying at an off-site condo. We went to Cinderella's Royal Table for breakfast in 2004, when it actually had all the princesses. It was a great experience. But now, since things at that restaurant have changed and the reviews are not that great, I've decided to go there again. We went once before, we experienced it, and I can dine now. However, I realized that my daughter was only 2 at the time when we went, and she doesn't remember it. She has asked to go to the castle for one of our meals, and I realized that maybe we should, quote, take one for the team and make the reservation. We're annual pass holders and have the Disney Dining Experience card. Would it be worth it to go to dinner with a 20% discount? I'm smart enough to know that I shouldn't ever spend 2 table service credits for that reservation.
I would rather do it with the 20% off.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think what she suggested there to take action. That's probably the smartest thing to do.
I think that's exactly what I would do.
Next email is from Jennifer Lee, who writes, hi there. I've only recently stumbled upon your podcast after reading allears.net for a couple of years. The show is very informative, although Matt needs to slow down when he talks. I talk very slow. Come on, haven't I been better lately?
A little bit.
At times.
Yeah, depending.
Yes.
Yeah, some days no.
At least somebody backs me up on here. Although maybe Len just saw an ad for tequila and he just said, yes.
Yeah, totally. Jose Cuervo.
Or maybe he was agreeing with us.
I think that's what it was.
You're both right.
On to my question. My dad, sister, and I will be driving from my home in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, at the beginning of a month that's coming soon. We'll be staying at the Sun Resort located in downtown Disney Resort. Since we're staying here, will we qualify for extra Magic Hours benefit? Knowing this would greatly assist in planning our trip.
No.
Which of the downtown Disney resorts, Len, qualifies for extra Magic Hours?
I believe, Mr. Hotchberg, that you know that the answer is the Hilton at downtown
correct.
Disney.
Very good.
Am I right?
You're right, yeah.
All right, awesome.
Setting you up for that one.
You are correct, sir. Yes.
Nothing? Next
Sergeant
email.
Hulka, does this mean that we're done for the day?
Good old Stripes. Next email is from Mark Jeffries of Salem, West Virginia. He writes, Matt, Mike, Len, and the fabulous Annette Owens. I'm planning a trip for this summer, August 2009, and something came to my mind. What impact do you think the closing of Space Mountain, combined with the new Barack Obama character that they're adding to the Hall of Presidents, will have on crowd congestion in Frontierland Liberty Square area? It seems to me that with Space Mountain out of the picture, there are only two remaining headliners, Splash Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain, and they are besides each other. No headliner to draw a crowd to the other end of the park. Plus, a revamped Hall of Presidents with the new chief executive is not very far away in Liberty Square and will probably draw significantly larger crowds than it normally does, if because of nothing else than out of curiosity of how the new president looks as an audio animatronic. Any ideas of how this may affect the touring plans? I know in the past we've been there for Rope Drop and the crowd split right and left. Those making Splash Mountain their first ride and those making Space Mountain their first ride. Will the lines of the two remaining mountains be unbearable, or will it be not that noticeable? Any advice besides be there at park opening and make the dash for Splash?
So actually, we wouldn't do that. We tested a couple of different scenarios. First of all, let me just say, I don't think Hall of Presidents is a factor in here. It still doesn't play to capacity crowds throughout the day, so you won't find lines. It would be unusual for you to get in line for Hall of Presidents and not be admitted to the very next show. For Splash and for Big Thunder, remember that Buzz Lightyear is still very popular. So, and that if you get there in the afternoon, your fast passes will be gone for that. So we actually tested a couple different scenarios for Space Mountain being closed, and the best thing that we've been able to find is just following the touring plans as written, skipping Space Mountain. That actually works out better than trying to move things around and skipping Tomorrowland as the first thing in the morning. And again, Buzz Lightyear is the key for that. In fact, since we've been advocating this, we've been having people do this since April. We have literally not received a single negative comment about it since then. So I think it's definitely the best strategy, and it probably saves the most time too.
Cool. Next email is from Jack, better known as Fantasy Jack on WDWToday.com.
Hooah!
He writes, hello team. I've become a recent listener and subscribed to the touring plans, and we love all your work.
Thank you.
I'll be traveling 8 days at parks with a family of 4 and several other family and friends to the world this coming Halloween 2009.
Awesome.
I'm also planning to travel to the world summer 2010 as well, probably 7 days at the parks, and thought it would be pretty obvious that an annual pass would be a good value for these 2 trips. I'm a timeshare owner, non-DVC, so staying on property is not how we travel. Does an annual pass sound like a good value, 15 days total in the year's time, versus park hoppers for 2 separate trips? I spun the numbers and it seemed like it would be a couple $100 savings.
Yes,
we love to eat on property pretty much every night for dinner. So as a pass holder, I could purchase the Tables in Wonderland pass and could pass on 20% discount onto the other 9 members of our group. Sounds like a nice perk too. Remember, no Disney dining plan. What do you think, Lauren?
You could totally. I think it totally makes sense. In fact, the interesting thing I think about annual passes is once you get to that 11th day, you remember Disney doesn't have an 11-day Magic Your Way pass. That incremental 11th day is really the point at which all kinds of things that weren't financially possible become more possible with the annual pass, only because you're starting over again and there's no discounted day. So the difference between the 9th day and the 10th day on a Magic Your Way pass is what, like $3 in it, $4, something like that.
It's right in there, like $3.50, something like that.
Yeah. So your 10th day costs like $4. Your 11th day costs $80. That's the thing that's killing you there. So it definitely makes sense to do that, and I totally would get the annual pass.
Cool.
And also, the Tables in Wonder. I mean, that
and the Tables in Wonderland. Right.
Yeah.
Next email is from Amanda Young of www.alone.blogspot.com. Writes, hi, love the show, makes me smile, and the topics are great. I'm listening to episode 523, Solo Touring, and I had to send in a comment. As a solo traveler, I would just want to share my experiences with dining solo. I've done a lot.
Wait, hold on. This is totally for you, Matt. Go ahead.
Totally. Yep.
Okay. I have done a lot of sit-down meals at Walt Disney World. I've never felt out of place or looked at strangely because I'm by myself. I even did Victoria and Albert solo, and I have to say that they treated me with the same way as if I have had someone there with me. I make ADRs for longer trips, but for short trips, I do walk-ups at the restaurants all the time, and I've never really had any problems or long waits. I wholeheartedly agree that being solo can be great because you don't have to answer to anyone, and you can do exactly what you want. There are times where it'd be nice to share experiences with others, but that's what blogging is for.
Wait, did you say experiences or bills? I totally. If it was the second thing, I totally get that.
Thanks for the great show. Keep up the great work.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I was a little. I'm still. I don't know if I would do it. Maybe now I'm a little bit better about it. But there was a time where
you're insecure and lonely.
Yes, very much so. And then I met Mike Newell, and then all was good in the
Just
world.
a small town girl living in a lonely world.
We're
That's right.
in this world together.
That's right. I'm just a Journey song embodied over here. All right. Next email is from Vernon Rollins, who writes, LOL. The recent cold snap, well, this was sent in February, so keep that in mind, made me wonder how the parks are affected by cold weather. Are performances canceled? Are face characters not available because jacket would distract from the image? What effect does the cold have? I do know that the face characters actually do have cold weather gear. Like Alice in Wonderland wears a scarf. I don't know what that does for her, but evidently it does something. They do have Belle has a jacket that she wears. So does Jasmine, and because otherwise she would really freeze to death in certain times. But the face characters don't get affected by it. Can you guys think of any instances where cold weather would affect performances?
Cold weather performances.
I know they'll close down the water parks in the winter. Like usually there's only one open anyway during the winter.
Yeah, but the water's heated.
Yeah, but they've had a couple days where it's been cold, where they just close the water park because they know people are.
Yeah. Unseasonably cold, right? So I've Ariel's Grotto is open even when it's really cold outside. They've actually been there in December, and they actually blow hot air on Ariel. They have like industrial blowers in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would hope so, because that's a very cold outfit.
Yeah, totally. I can't think of anything.
I can't.
Let me think. The water fountains would close, like the jumping water fountains in Epcot by Test Track, and in Future World. Those close when it's cold.
Yeah, but generally speaking, the attractions themselves stay up. I mean, the safari ride at Animal Kingdom might be a little boring because if the animals aren't really up for it, they're going to kind of be just conserving body heat and sitting down. But
I'm trying to think what else would be. So Donald's Boat, they would turn off the water feature if it's ever on. Splash Mountain, they turn the water cannons off. They still do the spray in Big Thunder. What else? I can't think. They don't change Test Track at all, right? That's an outdoor attraction. They didn't do anything to Swiss Family Treehouse. They didn't do anything in Jungle Cruise. No, I mean most of the stuff. I mean, you gotta. The way to think about it is this: Disney's designed most of the rides to be safe from rain, right? Because of Florida. Right. I think you get a lot of benefit from or protection from cold as well, simply because most of the stuff is either roofed or sheltered. And I think that's why we can't think of too many things.
Yeah, I think you'd be. I mean, other than things we mentioned, I mean, it's not like they close down. Rain will affect, or lightning really will affect some attractions, but cold, it'll just be cold out.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Cool. Well, it's time for our last question of the day, and that means that I'm going to ask Mike Newell to pick from three questions, and Mike will pick one to be answered today. The rest go back into the email queue to be answered later. Are you ready, Mike?
Let's go.
All right, Mike. I'm changing the rules a little bit. I'm going to make you pick from 4 questions.
Oh, the pressure.
All right. So, are you ready for this?
Let's go.
All right. Your options are dining pin codes crack, people I don't want to meet, ketchup. We don't need no stinking ketchup. I thought that one was good. I had to bring that one back. And to yak or not to yak.
Awesome.
Oh.
Are those hints?
This is purely your decision, Mike. I can't imagine the pressure you must feel picking these questions.
I don't know where to go with this. I think I'm actually going to go with the ketchup.
We don't need no stinking ketchup.
Let's hear about the ketchup woes of society.
All right. Well, second time's the charm. Last email today is from Steve from Swansea, Massachusetts. Say, guys, I was listening to a now defunct podcast from a few years ago, and one of the hosts mentioned that if you ask for ketchup at Whispering Canyon, something unique happens.
Oh yeah.
What's this all about?
Yes.
So there's a couple of Whispering Canyon is interesting in that a couple of different things happen when you start asking for
certain things.
Different things.
Yeah.
So if you ask,
hold on a second line. We should mention if you've never been there before and you want to keep this kind of a surprise for yourself, you might want to just mute this for a couple of minutes.
Good idea.
Yeah. But anyway, go ahead, Len. Sorry.
So if you ask for ketchup, they'll bring you every free bottle of ketchup in the restaurant. If you ask for a refill of a drink, so normally you have like a 12 or 16 ounce mason jar for drink, they'll bring you like the gallon mason jar with a straw that's like 3 feet long.
They did that to me.
Did they really?
It was more like a 5-gallon drink. It was.
Oh, it's bigger.
Oh my god!
Especially when people ask for a large drink.
I did not knowingly.
Oh, I saw him come out with a bucket before.
Yeah, this is what this was, like one of those 5-gallon paint buckets full of.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And if you really want to get somebody really good for their birthday, great place to go. We took my son there for his 18th birthday, and he got to ride the little stick ponies around and sing happy birthday to himself.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is if they catch you stealing silverware from another table, you'll go to Whispering Canyon Jail. So they'll give you like a little cardboard jail cutout to hang in front of your head with a jail sign over it. It's awesome.
It is quite funny. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, yeah.
Cool. Well, that's it for us today. Don't forget that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And you know what? They won't publicly embarrass you if you use MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. I mean, you ask for ketchup, they'll help you out there where they can. But they can actually help you plan your next trip to Walt Disney World and make it easier on yourself, whether you're maybe a little bit of a newbie to Walt Disney World and need some extra help, or maybe you've done this many, many times, and let's face it, calling and making a hotel reservation just isn't that exciting anymore. You want to be spending your time focusing on the cool stuff, listening to podcasts, reading articles online, going to the blogs, reading the stuff Sam Janaway writes, and figuring out all these little things you want to do on your next trip. Why not have all that other stuff, the hotel bookings, the ADRs? Let the travel agents at MEI Mouse Fan Travel do that. They can do that for you. Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and the Thunderbills and Ed Owens, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.